draft prep now. I know a lot of people sometimes they'll focus on the diet or watching a lot of film or even training for the combine, what they want to run and things like that. What have you really been working on over the last month?
So I've really been working on just drills for the combine, 40 and stuff. Some teams necessarily don't think I'm a super fast guy. So I've just been working on my speed a whole lot, to show them that I am pretty fast, and just trying to get my weight up as much as I can. I'm on the smaller side, so I want to be as big as I can, but make sure it's good weight too. So I've just been putting on a lot of muscle and just feeling really good about it.
You got a go-to meal that you've had over the last couple of months, trying to pack on some pounds here, but not make it. It can't be too dirty, right? It can't just be pizza every day or something like that.
Definitely not. But so my go-to meal would be actually probably one I would make. So I have a teammate, Tito, on the team. He's the best chef I've ever known.
Shout out Tito.
Exactly. And so he gave me this rib recipe, and so I'll smoke some ribs on the Traeger
for
a couple hours with his dry rub, and it's the best.
I love it, man.
Yes,
last thing from you. One of the catches that I really loved from you, actually in today's practice on Monday, is you had a contested catch near the corner of the end zone, and that was something where it was like, okay, he's winning not just in separating, but also in some contested catch stuff. I see you smiling a little bit talking about that catch. How much did that mean to you, being able to put that on tape as more of a well-rounded guy?
Yeah, that was huge for me. Like you said, I've been kind of known, as a shifty guy. I make guys miss, and there's kind of a question mark on, can I make contested catches? Can I be kind of a deep threat type of guy? And so, it's nice to get a little bit of that on film, show teams that I can also do that.
Love it, man. Kyle Phillips, one of the biggest risers here, the 2022 Shrine Bowl.
Appreciate it.
That was great stuff, Kyle.
Appreciate
it, man. It was great to meet you. MVP. The guy wanted to be MVP of the event. That's the motivation that we wanted here,
need that
fellas.
confidence.
You need that, and you see that confidence. I know we kind of talked about it in the interview there, but you see that confidence from Kyle Phillips when he goes out there going up against whatever DB it is, whether it's a safety, a corner, a guy with a lot of length, a guy with a lot of speed, whatever it is. I feel like Kyle Phillips has been playing really, really well. He is a player who has, I think, risen more than almost anybody in this class. I think
he's
going to be
talked about. Easily the best punt returner here. And I think
Which
that's a big
matters,
factor. It's a huge factor in the special teams area, especially when he's going to get slotted into the draft probably like day 3, high day 3, late day 2.
All right, let's flip over to defense. And Tresh, let's talk about somebody who has really stood out for you, not just today, but throughout the entire practice week here at the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, I think the best performer on either side of the ball really has been Western Michigan edge defender Ali Fayed. I think when we got the measurements in, he was a little bit on the undersized thing, but he has the production to speak for it, and he's been kind of playing at that type of elite level this week. What he's been doing in one-on-ones, when on the field, truly special stuff. He is, I think, from a pass rush, with his pass rush plan and the way he kind of can win with finesse, it's truly special to see. And, there was one rep today where I was sitting there watching one-on-ones, and I wasn't recording any, but I saw Ali Fayed go up against Bam Olaseni. They were lined up, pulled up the folks like, something special is going to happen here. What do you know? He pulls out a ghost rush. There were oohs and ahs from everyone on the field. What he can do with how he can win, he can do it in a variety of ways. So I think that's someone that, for me, I think I was a little bit concerned projecting him going from Western Michigan to the NFL. I'm not worried about that. I think he is going to survive on the edge despite being a little bit undersized because he is so good with what he do from a technique perspective.
And I think with him,
the plan too, right? It's more than just technique. He goes into every rush with a legitimate plan. There are a lot of guys here that sometimes will go into these rushes and only have like 1 or 2 moves, the speed to power, whatever it may be. He's going in and throwing a ghost out. He threw the fake spin on day 1. He's got a lot in his arsenal, which you have to have when you're undersized.
And that's rare. And that's rare to see at this level. I know he's an experienced guy from Western Michigan, but at these all-star events, you really don't see that type of advanced moveset.
You might see someone try it, but not as smooth as he's executing.
Right, no doubt. And with him, he's getting a lot of work as a stand-up outside linebacker, and you talked about him being a little bit undersized. I think that people thought that he was undersized. We did as well when we saw the measurements, thinking, okay, this guy, he's played a lot with his hand in the dirt as a true defensive end. And, yeah, they got creative with him. They got him a little bit wider in the alignment to let his speed kind of show up. But this week when I had the chance to sit down and talk to him, he said he was really looking forward to getting to rush from that 2-point stance, getting to work as a linebacker. And he smiled a little bit saying, okay, now I also got to learn some coverages too if I'm going to have that outside linebacker label.
And he had one where he dropped into coverage and tipped the pass, in zone. So, he's doing it all, right?
He's just a good football player, man.
Just a good football player.
Awesome.
I think, you talk about offensive MVP with Kyle Phillips. I think we had to give out an MVP right now for us. I think he would win that award. I think defensively it's Ali Fayed.
Love it. Austin, what about you?
I'm all in. I'm all in on Bully Ball McCall. That's his name.
It's a great nickname. That's a great nickname.
From Kentucky. He's the big boy. I think 355 pounds, 6'2", 355. That's what he weighed in at. And a lot of concerns with McCall come from just not seeing a ton of tape. He has only ever played in the season he played the most snaps. He only played 271 defensive snaps. There are also times where his weight got ballooned all the way up to like 380 pounds or something in that range, 375. He worked to get down into this 350 range, and he's continued to show out that work today. After practice, he's the only guy running sprints here after practice every single time, trying to obviously show that conditioning isn't a concern for Bully Ball.
Dude, his energy is infectious. When he's on the field, I mean, you could tell he's hyping everybody up. He was hyping me up. I'm sitting there on the sideline. He's getting everybody.
Well, Bully Ball McCall also showed up on day one. He got in a little bit of a scuffle with Alex Lindstrom, and then today he punched a dude in the face. He literally punched this dude in the face after a rep. I mean, this guy doesn't take anything. I'll say
what did he say to you when you interviewed him about getting into scruffs? He was just like, I mean, if they're feeling themselves too much, I gotta let them know.
He's like, you just can't be doing anything extra.
That's what he was saying.
So finish the rep. Don't don't lean on me a little bit extra. It's fair. It's respect. You respect that.
I mean, but that kind of obviously, like, you never want that to boil over into like penalties or things like that. But that is energy right there, right? That shows that he's focused, that he's into it, that he wants to play as good as possible, and that he doesn't want anyone to get the better of him at any point in time.
And after the first practice at Allegiant too, he was the loudest guy, saying, "We got this."
Yep.
This is. I mean, that's the type of energy. I think everyone looks into the measurements, everyone looks into the one-on-ones and how you grade out and how you win these things. But so much of this, talk to any scout here, any GM, any coach. Who are these guys? Yep. And you found out a lot of what Bully Ball is like. I mean, running the conditioning, he's energetic when you talk to him, obviously has high energy on the side. Like, all that matters when you are trying to decide between these guys.
Tresh, what about you? You got one more?
Yeah, one was Jeffrey Gunter. I think, just coming in, you look at the rosters, Jeffrey Gunter was one of the guys that I think all three of us can agree we were most looking forward to see, and he's been living up to the hype, right? I mean, you look at what we've said. I mean, I've talked about with PFF grading these practices, getting the film. He's been one of the highest graded defensive players so far. I mean, he is living up to the hype, and I think he's helping himself, making himself some money this week.
Man, he's big. There's been a lot of defensive linemen. Matthew Butler's another one from Tennessee who just giving a shout out to him, man. He's been really explosive as a one-gap penetrator. Clearly, I think that he went into this event thinking, hey, I'm going to pin my ears back and I'm going to show people what I can be as a pass rusher, because he's another guy. But it feels like there are a handful of defensive linemen on both of these rosters that have really helped themselves out.
I think Butler and Gunter both, from a tools perspective, like really showed up, right? Like they have the size, the arm length, what you want as pass rushers. And I think that explosiveness for Butler is funny because on day one, it was interesting that all of the one-on-ones went on on the snap count. On day two, they threw a lot of on-twos at Butler, and he jumped not every time, but a lot of that time. And I think they try and catch advantage. Because, you have to even that drill out, right? We talked about it with Lindstrom. Like, that drill is meant for defensive linemen to win. Varying snap counts, going on down, going on set, or going on two, did level the playing field a little bit for Butler. He still played really well, but I thought it was interesting that he's firing, man. He's firing out every stance.
Yeah, these are a lot of guys that played really well. There's another player. The third phase of the game, the special teams the special teams phase of the game that has played really well every single practice. That's Ryan Stonehouse. And you had a chance to talk to him earlier in the week. You had a long conversation. You guys were vibing together, just talking about football and everything. Yeah, you guys were like long-lost brothers, it felt like. I know he's got a little bit longer hair than you, but it felt like you guys were just like, you were having a good time. You did. You connected.
Dude, he's going to replace Mike if he comes to Cincinnati.
That's true. He might actually be.
From San Diego area. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. But with him, too, it's we talked a lot about fielding punts. Talking a lot about fielding punts on day one. It's like how hard it is, and I've never really felt how hard it was to field a punt.
Okay, I'm going to set the stage a little bit for the people here. You said you could do it. You said you could sit back and you could field a punt. You almost gave it a how hard could it be, and how did that turn out for you today?
It did not turn out well. I tried to field some Ryan Stonehouse punt, which, by the way, this is an NFL punter. I'm talking to some of the representatives here at the East-West Shrine Bowl and some coaches. He's one of the highest-ranked players here, period, regardless of position. He ultimately could be the highest drafted player from the people here at the East-West Shrine Bowl. So these punts were legit. These punts were booming, and I tried to catch a handful of them. You'll see that now.
Yeah. You were all over the place. I mean, you were like left to right, up and down, and like you couldn't. I felt like the depth was the biggest issue for you,
dude. The issue with catching punts